What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Wrestling Inc. podcast, May 16th edition, brought to you by TrendyButler.com and DDPYoga.com/Wrestling Inc. I am joined here by Wrestling Inc. founder Raj Giri and the leader of the Los Broiquas, Vince Russo. Vince, how you doing tonight?
All right, Sean. What's going on, my friend?
I am great. Raj, how are you?
Hey, guys.
Before we get into the show, I want to get into some important business, some beanie business. Many of you have been requesting, Vince included, that I send him the now famous Trendy Butler beanie that they sent me that cost $75. It's a little too warm here for me to wear it, but I wasn't going to send it to Vince because it's a very valuable item. So I sarcastically said to someone, well, not really sarcastically, because I just didn't think anybody would do it. I said, if somebody donates $75 to Elijah Burke, Pope D'Angelo Dinero's Love Alive charity, I would send it to Vince Russo. Within about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, Phil Rodriguez, one of our listeners, follow him at PhilRod28, donated the $75. Thumbs up to him. Go follow him. Show him some respect for that. The beanie has been sent to you, Vince. It's en route.
And I'm waiting for the beanie, and thanks to Phil, I will proudly wear the beanie every Monday night after Raw right here on this show. Sean, thank you very much. You and I and Raj, we're all big fans of the Pope. It's for a good cause, and I will graciously wear that beanie every Monday night once I get it.
Yeah, quite a platform Raj has created where some guy can get somebody to donate $75 to send Vince Russo a beanie.
There you go.
Well, wasn't expecting that, but yeah, there you go.
I love it. I love it very much. Thank you guys so much. Very good cause. We had Monday Night Raw, the go-home show before Extreme Rules. Now, these go-home shows, guys, used to be something that I would look forward to. Used to be something that you would see a big angle leading into the pay-per-view. It seems to be a lot of filler now, Vince.
You know, Sean, I got to be honest with you. I'm good friends with Brian James, Road Dogg. And, bro, we follow each other on Twitter. We DM each other occasionally. And, Road Dogg went online last week and he made the statement, he called me a hater and, basically insinuated that I personally hate on the WWE to draw an attention and draw an audience. And it really bothered me, and I wrote to Brian back, and I said, Brian, with all due respect, if something's good, I put it over. If it's not good, I'm not going to put it over. So if in your definition that's a hater, then I guess I'm a hater. So with that being said, Sean, I watched tonight's show, and this is what was in my mind. Honestly, with Brian James being part of the creative team at the WWE, what on tonight's show, with a straight face, would Brian James want Vince Russo to put over? Honestly, we worked together at the Attitude Era. We worked on hundreds and hundreds of shows together. We worked together at TNA. What on tonight's show would Brian James possibly want me to put over? And I watched it with an open mind. I did not say anything negative on Twitter all night long. But I am begging somebody to tell me one thing about that entire 3-hour show to put over.
You didn't like the Shining Stars debut, I'm taking it.
Oh, God. Well, the only problem with that match was that the Jobbers beat the Jobbers.
Raj, how did you take this show?
Yeah, I thought it was just there's nothing exciting. Like you were saying, a go-home show should be getting you excited for the pay-per-view. I mean, it should leave you wanting more, and I was just burnt out by the end. I'm like tired now from the show, and it's just so formulaic right now. You just basically have everyone that's wrestling on the pay-per-view just in various and just mix and match them in various forms of the same match twice a week, and it's just not interesting. They just got to shake this formula up because it's not working.
This
and you know the funny thing was too, like I had to double check just to make sure, but you know, Raj, I don't know about like you guys, but you know, I was in this situation many times at all three companies when we were facing like the NBA playoffs. And, you know, when we knew that it was a hot NBA playoff game going on, we put our best foot forward. We didn't just wave the white flag and say everybody's going to watch the basketball game. We put our best foot forward to compete. And, you know, sure enough, you know, midway through the show, you know, I wasn't sure if there was a game on. I'm not a big NBA guy, but I went to NBA.com, and sure enough, there's a hot game going on. And I'm just like, are they freaking kidding me? Listen, I'll be honest with you. I won't be surprised if this rating actually dips below a 2.0 tomorrow. I would not be surprised at all. This may be the show that does it, because you know what? When you got the semifinals of the NBA up against you, and you put zero effort into your show, you deserve to fall below a 2.0, and that very well might happen tomorrow.
I want to ask you all, do you all think that they're almost reserved to just say, well, our viewers might catch it on YouTube, might catch the clips on YouTube, but that wasn't an option when you were working for them, Vince?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, that literally is giving up, saying we lose, we're going to accept the loss, we're going to tuck our tail between our legs, and we're going to go home quietly. That's not the Vince McMahon I worked for. I could tell you that right now. That wasn't the guy full of piss and vinegar. That was not that guy. They went into tonight defeated before the show ever started.
And that would just be stupid if they're hoping that people just catch it on YouTube and not on TV, because they're making way more on TV rights fees than YouTube ads. So that just wouldn't make any sense. I think this is just where they're at. They've been on cruise control for such a long time, and cruise control over 3 hours, week after week after week, and now you're just left with a very bland product.
By the way, guys, if you all haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube page, leave a thumbs up. We have tons of stuff. We have several interviews. Jim Ross, Deonna Purrazzo, Jeannie Clark, the ex-wife of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Tons of interviews coming to our YouTube page, so check that out. We started the show with AJ Styles coming out, and if there's one thing I really hate out of promos, and they haven't done it in a long time, it's having the talent in the ring throw to whatever is on the screen. Like, ugh, I hate it.
Especially when it's social media tweets. And nothing makes you look weaker than throwing the social media tweets on the big screen.
It's like if you're having an argument with if I'm having an argument with Vince about something, he's like, "Oh yeah, you don't believe me? Ask Raj." It's like, the hell, the argument's not with Raj, it's with you. And AJ Styles is like, "Guys, if you don't believe me, look at what people are saying. Look at what people on the internet are saying."
Could you imagine Conor McGregor doing that? You know, like these people that are Mayweather and, you know, any of these guys that do promos to make money, throwing away to tweets and what people are saying on social media.
Yeah, I hate that. So, yeah, he threw to some tweets. It used to be a lot worse when they would have Dean Ambrose do it. This crazy guy who came out and planned that he was going to throw to video packages. Vince, what did you think of Styles' delivery? I know you've kind of criticized his accent and things in the past, and this segment completely because we had the Usos involved, Gallows and Anderson involved. What did you think of it?
Hey man, it just went nowhere. I mean, it's like Rod said. It's such a formula. Okay, this is going to be the main event of the show, so we got to set it up with an in-ring. But nothing happened in the in-ring. If you would have, missed the in-ring, it wouldn't have had any effect whatsoever on the match. And I just hate in-rings where nothing happens, and this was a typical nothing happened.
Raj?
Yeah, I agree. I had been liking this feud, but it's just when you're kind of doing the same thing twice a week for the match, and not doing anything outside the box, not doing anything backstage, not doing anything different to build it other than setting up a match and having, basically the same match we've been seeing, for the last several weeks. It just didn't get me.
It's almost like the WWE were like, oh, we have a hot angle. We better not mess it up by doing anything different. No, we want something different. It's the same thing we keep seeing. Fortunately for them in the tag match later, the crowd was really hot for it, but this opening angle didn't do anything for me. Next up, we had Sami Zayn versus Cesaro, who probably should have faced off weeks ago after Sami Zayn cost Cesaro the Intercontinental title. Kevin Owens and The Miz were at ringside doing commentary. They got involved. Shane McMahon came out, and my first thought was, oh no, we're getting the same match we had on SmackDown. And Vince, you and I had said it before, why the hell would Sami Zayn tag with Cesaro? So I was very fearful they'd do that again. Fortunately, at least for the story, Stephanie McMahon came out and said, I think it would be more interesting to see Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. They battled. They had a tag match against Miz and Cesaro. Miz threw Cesaro out of the ring, tried to do the Cesaro swing, but Cesaro ran back in, hit the skull-crushing finale, caused him to get pinned. Afterwards, Kevin Owens attacked Sami Zayn. Raj, what do you think of all this? They switched it up a little bit.
But again, it's just variations of the same match over and over, and it's just variations of these four again, as opposed to doing something different, doing like a backstage segment or just anything, just another match, same guys, where it doesn't matter who wins or loses, and yeah, just formulaic stuff.
Vince, you looked thrilled as I gave you the description of that match.
Sean, you know what it is? I hate to bring this up every week. I really do. But on the same day I watch Raw, I watch an Attitude Era show. And I just hate the way, bro, when Vince was the figurehead, Austin was telling Vince to go F himself. Taker was telling Vince to go F himself. They would physically abuse Vince. I just hate the way Shane and Stephanie get over on everybody. Like, they get over. It's like the wrestlers are their little pawns in this game. And, like, that's not getting the talent over. And it freaking drives me crazy. Vince was such a monster heel, but we use that heel to get the talent over. These two go out there every week, and they play this game of chess with the talent. Nobody pops off to them. Nobody mouths off to them. Stephanie slapped Flair at the end of the show for crying out loud. I don't understand the concept of these two getting over and not the talent. Literally, I want Brian James to DM me and explain that concept to me. How are we making the product better by getting Stephanie and Shane over at the expense of every other piece of talent on that roster? Somebody needs to explain that to me.
And if this storyline were interesting, that'd be one thing. But the Shane Stephanie stuff, there's just nothing happening. So not only are they not getting any talent over, are they talking down and dressing down talent on a weekly basis, but the storyline itself is just not interesting.
I do like that they kind of try to one-up each other, but it comes at the expense of the talent, like Vince said. Kevin Owens would be a perfect guy to say that to Shane. When a few weeks ago when Kevin Owens came out and got in Shane's face, I was like, maybe they'll have a match. That would be interesting. Kevin Owens, the guy who was powerbombing Machine Gun Kelly off of a stage last year against Shane McMahon eventually. That would be kind of cool. Also, I wouldn't mind seeing like a Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, like odd couple team. They have the history. It's been said they can work together. Because I don't know how many times you can do this match in a row or variations of it. But just do a little something different. Any thoughts as we go into Extreme Rules? Raj, who do you think's leaving with the Intercontinental title?
I thought it would be Sami Zayn, except that he got the win here tonight. So I would keep it on The Miz. And I mean, they've been doing a good job building him up. I think he's got a little steam on him. So let's leave the title on him and have him hold it a little bit longer. So I'd go with The Miz. Plus, he hasn't won a match, and not Not that it means anything, but he hasn't won a match in a while, which to me would indicate that he's leaving with the belt.
Vince, who do you think's leaving with the Intercontinental Championship?
I mean, Miz has lost 2 weeks in a row. So, I mean, I would have to hope he's leaving with the Intercontinental belt. Otherwise, that's just another talent they completely buried. I mean, that the champion has lost 2 weeks in a row. And if he doesn't go over at the pay-per-view, Miz means nothing. And they've done that to a million people before. So, like, I don't know. But the fact that they've beat him twice in the last 2 weeks, if he loses again, Miz now means absolutely nothing.
I agree. I think Miz is going to win this. I think he has a little bit more mileage, and I hate the idea of the champions getting beaten repeatedly, but that is what it is. Speaking of nobody caring, we had the re-debut of Primo and Epico, now known as the Shining Stars. Their finishing move is called the Shining Star. As our Wednesday co-host, Rob McCarron, said, that would be like saying the Road Warriors win with the Road Warrior. Doesn't make a lot of sense. They beat real-life, honest-to-God jobbers, and I love that. They beat the crap out of these guys. That was cool. But nobody cared. Raj, not a single person cared. And they had like a month of vignettes behind them.
You know, I thought it was funny. It was Corey Hollis was one of the guys that they beat, and he had his initials on his tights, CH.
And they called him something else.
Yeah, they called him like Brian Kennedy. It sounded like Michael Cole was making up their names as they went along. But you would think they'd at least give him a name that, with the initial CH. But yeah, I mean, I don't get this gimmick. I mean, if you're planning this out, why are you supposed to hate these guys if they're heels? Which I'm assuming they're heels, because they're advertising Puerto Rico. So I don't know. It's just doomed from the beginning. It's DOA, and it's just one of those things that anybody should be able to see this. And it was a cold debut. No one cared. The crowd was quiet, and it's something that I think everyone expected.
Was this any sort of rejuvenation for these guys, Vince? Are they any better off than what they were underneath the masks with the bull?
Sean, the semifinals of the NBA playoffs are on the other channel. I mean, just think about that.
You mean to tell me that people are more interested in a guy that made 400 3-pointers this year? I wish my friend Brian James would smarten me up, because how do you put something like this on primetime television when you know what you're up against? Somebody really has to listen. Unless they don't care, and listen, listen. I did not care enough to even talk negatively about Raw on Twitter tonight. I'm past that. I'm past talking negatively about the show. What is the point? That tells me they just don't care. And if they don't care, I'm not going to care. There's no other explanation for putting a match like this on opposite the NBA playoffs. There's no excuse other than they don't give a you-know-what.
They've had, what, 4 or 5 weeks to build these guys now, and you still have no reason to care. I mean, that's just a piss-poor job.
The Colon family has been a part of the WWE since like 2004 and have not been over since Carlito, not at one point.
Maybe they should get Carlito back, I
bet they wish they could. Well, maybe they could. I don't know.
And you know what, Sean? What about the ring attire? You know what I think they need to do? I think they need to call Trendy Butler, bro.
I think they do need to call Trendy Butler.
Because they get that box. For how much is the box now, Sean?
$65, and you can save $10 by using the code Wrestling10.
For $65, their ring attire wouldn't have been better with $65 invested in Trendy Butler than what those two jabronis came out wearing.
I'm out here spending like what, $14,935 less than Chris Jericho is on his jacket, and I'm getting a full outfit for $65 a month. TrendyButler.com, code Wrestling10. You go there, you create a custom style profile based on the colors, patterns, what you like to wear, what you don't like to wear. They cover all the bases, and then a stylist will custom pick your outfits and send them right to your door. Over $150 of designer clothes for only $65. In fact, the beanie they sent me was worth more than I paid them. And it's going to my friend Vince Russo, who might sport that cashmere beanie on this Sunday's post-Extreme Rules show. You're going to love it, Vince.
I'm looking forward to it, bro.
Everything they've sent me so far, I've been like, damn, that looks good.
Yeah, Trendy Butler.
Man, that was impressive, Vince.
Thank you, Raj.
I saw it coming from a mile away.
I set that up on a tee for him, didn't I?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
My only regret is that I got engaged before I found Trendy Butler because now my fiance has to keep all these girls away from me, and it's a rough life, guys. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. You'll get by.
Is there any way to save this shining star group at all? Besides ddpyoga.com/wrestling Inc. and Trendy Butler, of course. Is there a legitimate question?
No.
It's been.
No. So put them on NXT. Maybe if you put them on NXT, maybe.
No,
they'd probably get to show off their work a little bit on NXT, Raj.
They're good. They're good wrestlers, but they just don't have the charisma to be big stars, and it shows over the years. I mean, they've been given countless opportunities. I mean, how many times have these guys been repackaged and Damian Sandow gets released?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, that just tells you something right there. But you need underneath teams, and that's where these guys are headed. Again.
Yeah, again, for the third time, because they've been Primo and Epico before. They were Matadorus, and it didn't work out. And now this is not working out either. Next up, we had Becky Lynch versus Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke had a backstage segment. I thought it was okay compared to her mic work in NXT, at least, Raj. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought she was fine. I don't think she should be wrestling on Raw yet. I think she should have a few matches on SmackDown so they could edit it, the way they see fit. But I thought the promo was fine.
Oh, yeah, she's super green.
Yeah.
Very green. Emma, who really, it's hard for me to believe that Dana Brooke would have been called up without Emma there, because we saw Emma go to NXT, and I don't know if she really mentored Dana Brooke, but she helped her along a lot because Emma is a really good worker. She's out with back surgery. I don't know. It's indefinite, her period of return. Vince, Dana Brooke doing anything for you?
It's not Dana Brooke, Sean. None of these girls have a character. No, outside of Charlotte, and thank God, she's got Ric Flair for a father. Otherwise, Charlotte would have no character. These girls just have no character, bro. They're just, they're putting good female wrestlers out there. And, quite frankly, for the type of fan I am, that doesn't do anything for the type of fan I am. So, no. Who is Dana Brooks? Why should I care about Dana Brooks? What makes her different from Becky? I mean, they're just putting good workers out there, and if you're the type of fan that I am, you could care less.
Well, I wouldn't ever accuse Dana Brooke of being a good worker, but it's ironic because we just talked, Raj, about the shining stars who got 5 weeks of vignettes.
Yep, yeah, something like that since the night after Mania, right?
Yeah, and everybody kind of knows who they are. But then Dana Brooke, who nobody knows who they really are, who she really is, she doesn't get a vignette. And there's plenty to talk about. She's, a decorated fitness athlete.
Right. Well, I mean, she was supposed to be attached to Emma, and it's just bad luck on her part that Emma got injured. And this seems to be happening a lot, where plans are changing quick because of injuries, and it's unfortunate. So yeah, she's kind of out there cold. I mean, Big Cass, kind of the same thing. But luckily, he's getting a pretty good push, and the crowd's reacting to him. But I mean, hopefully they do that. Hopefully they do some vignettes for her and kind of let people know who she is. But I wouldn't count on it.
She beat Becky Lynch, as she did on SmackDown, because SmackDown apparently does not exist. Next up, Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho in a segment. Dean Ambrose reveals that they are going to have a cage match with weapons hanging from the ceiling. Vince, this is very similar to a concept used in TNA, I believe, when you were there, Lethal Lockdown. A little bit different. There aren't going to be as many people in the ring. does this match excite you at all?
Well, didn't we also have like the Asylum match at TNA? I thought what did Abyss call his match? Remember Abyss had his match? I thought it was an Asylum match. It was the same exact match.
Maybe
it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
So, you excited for the match? It's the first time WWE's ever done it. So, there's that.
Bro, did you just ask me if I'm excited?
I bet you're.
I mean, Sean, come on, bro. Come on. I mean, no, I'm not excited for it. I just can you guys explain to me though seriously now? This is the second month in a row why they've had to put Ambrose in a gimmick match. Can you guys explain to me why they keep putting him in these gimmick matches?
Because he's crazy.
No, but I mean, there's got to be more to it than that, no?
They just got to keep the same matches going, pay-per-view to pay-per-view, because they don't have different ways to take them. So that's their way. It's just trying to come up with a fresh coat of paint. I hate when wrestlers announce their own matches or announce the stip, and it has it all queued up for the cage to come. I mean, it should be Shane or Stephanie announcing it. But that being said, it's something different. I thought the mop at the top of the cage took a little bit of the intensity out of it, but and that music was just really corny. But I think Ambrose and Jericho, they've been doing as good as they could for this feud. So I think that'll be one of the better matches on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to that match. Wouldn't say I'm excited, Vince, but I'm looking forward to the match. We had a Make Darren Young Great Again segment, which begs the question.
This was the best thing on the show. Bob Backlund was the best thing on the show, bro.
His question.
His ears alone, Bob Backlund's ears alone are the best thing on the show, bro. Come on.
What I want to know is when the hell was Darren Young great to begin with? Was that in this bygone era that the New Day visited that I missed out on? It must have been.
What this whole all these vignettes, what it seems to me is like someone's seen Creed. There's this one line in the movie where Rocky's telling Adonis, giving him like training tips, and Adonis, gets it on his phone, says it's been sent up to the cloud, and Rocky replies, "What cloud?" And I feel like that line is the whole basis for this whole angle, and they're just gonna drag it out. That one line. They're just going to be dragging this out week after week after week.
Reminds me of in The Wrestler when Randy the Ram Robinson is playing his old NES game, and one of the kids is like, I want to play Call of Duty 4, and he's like, Call it Duty 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way that I see Darren Young becoming great again is if he does some ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. That's really the only way. And it's because he takes all those apron bumps early on in Superstars opening matches that I hate so much. But if he goes to ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc, he can do what made AJ Styles, John Cena, guys like that great again.
Bro, is DDP Yoga going to help him with his punches?
Yeah, probably will. It'll probably loosen.
All right, then he needs to go tomorrow, bro.
Probably going to loosen up those shoulders. ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Go there, get a great deal on the Max Pack. See how it helped out guys like Scott Hall and Jake the Snake Roberts. And if you really want to see how it helped out Jake the Snake Roberts, check out The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, now available on Vudu, PlayStation Network, iTunes, Amazon, all over video on demand. One of my favorite wrestling documentaries. If you all didn't see the shape that ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. got Scott Hall in, he looks better than he has in over a decade now because of that. So go check that out. Of course, tweet DDP Yoga, DDP, Jake the Snake Roberts movie, and Trendy Butler. Let them know the Wrestling Inc. podcast sent you. Indeed. Don't know how this Darren Young thing will work, but he's doing the squats. He did the squats that Bob Backlund asked him to do, Raj.
There is that.
Well, guys, big moment tonight. The culmination of the longest-running feud in the WWE. The Golden Truth had their debut. And I have to say, I have to give them credit. Fantastic video package to set it up. Really good. Now, was it worth me sitting through 4 months of vignettes? Hell no, it wasn't. But I like the video package, Raj.
Not me. It was a waste of time. This whole thing. I mean, this is the. It's stuff like this that just. This Golden Truth whole storyline. Everything about it just it epitomizes what's wrong with wrestling today, and why wrestling is not cool, and it just epitomizes it. It just sums it all up. And
you mean the time machine in the next episode did it, Raj?
I thought the time machine was hilarious.
Bro, it was Don Rickles' comedy.
I loved it. Bro. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment.
Can I tell you something, Sean? You know the Disco Inferno, Glenn Gilbernetti, who I can't stand, by the way.
I thought his last name was Gilberti.
Gilbernetti, I think.
It's Gilberti.
I got to tell you something about Glenn. This is what I like about Glenn. As much as I can't stand the guy, he says the simplest things that make all the sense in the world. You know what Glenn has been telling me the last couple of weeks? Think about this, guy. It's this simple. Let's say the WWE's core audience is 3.5 million people and a 2.2. Let's say that's the core audience. That's who you're going to get to watch the show every week. For argument's sake, that's your audience. Glenn says basically he watches every show, and at the end of every show he asks himself, okay, what happened on that show that is going to attract new viewers? Because if you're not going to attract new viewers, your audience is just going to keep going down. So when you look at the show, what did they do on this show to attract new viewers that are going to come back next week and watch it again? And if the answer is nothing, then that number is going to continue to go down. I don't think they did one single thing on this show tonight to draw a new viewer to it, unless I missed something.
I don't disagree. There were a couple things I liked on the show, but I don't think that anything that happened on the show is something that someone who tuned in for the first time would be like, oh, damn, that was great, I have to watch it again. Or
you're calling your buddies, you're like, you got to watch this.
Yes.
There's nothing like that.
Right.
Anyway, Golden Truth lost. Tyler Breeze is on a winning streak. I think he's won 3 straight matches.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's in the UFC. That's title shot territory, Raj.
In WWE, it's the other way. When you're 0-3, you're title shot territory. Right? Sami Zayn.
Well played. Well played. They argued in the back, and they're gonna team some more. So who cares? But I did like the video. I liked the video package. That was about it.
But and then they lost.
Yeah, they sure did.
Hey, all right.
New Day came out. They had a time machine. It was the New Day DeLorean. I see that you two hated it. I loved it. I think that it should have went longer. I think this should have went another 3 or 4 minutes. Big E should have came out in his old attire. They should have brought out Pac-Man Jones. That way Xavier Woods could rekindle Team Pac-Man. I know, Vince, you had to be a big Pac-Man Jones fan since you worked with him, didn't you?
Sure, man. Work with Pac-Man.
Yeah. Big Pac-Man.
You know what the funny thing about this, Sean, is I'm looking at this ridiculous segment, and I'm saying to myself, okay, this is written for kids. No problem. That's why this is stupid to me. It's silly to me. This is written for 12-year-old children. Then, bro, I looked at in the right-hand corner of my screen. It's 10 o'clock at night. That's your problem right there, bro.
10 o'clock is the new 7 o'clock, Vince.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's your problem right there. They have a kiddie segment, which is fine. It's on at 10 o'clock at night. That's the problem.
Call me immature, but I loved it.
I thought.
What did you love about it? I want to hear what he loved about it. Honestly, what did you love about this?
I was entertained by the segment. I'm supposed to. I don't know. I was entertained by it.
I thought it had a couple funny lines. I thought Kofi's line about 2009 being his best year was pretty good, and I was curious to where it was going. By the end, though, I thought it wasn't funny anymore, and welcomed when the vaudevillains came in to end it. But yeah, I mean, to Vince's point, this is
But wait,
I think that adults would find amusing.
Well, but Raj, hold on a second. Hold on a second, because we're forgetting one very important element. We've accepted it's a kiddie segment. They got a time machine. We've accepted that. It's 10 o'clock at night, and Big E was asking one of them, why is the keyboard so sticky? Is that not like every bell going off? Like, okay, guys, like, what is this? Is this for a child? Is the child supposed to know why the keyboard is sticky? It's 10 o'clock at night. What the frig is this?
That's why you don't eat candy around the keyboard.
I'm telling you, a 12-year-old will know exactly what he's talking about.
Oh, man. Anyway, Vaudevillains came out, beat up New Day. That was that. The Usos,
at least with New Day and the Vaudevillains, they're doing different things to build that match, you know. Yeah. And it was something different. At least, you know, I wish they would do stuff like this more. Not like creating cardboard time machines, but interview segments or something to build the main event match.
Well, I did ask last week if the club was going to build a pillow fort, so I wasn't that far off.
Hey, they took your idea and morphed it a little.
Yeah. I thought this is the best thing that New Day has done in months, because I haven't really liked their babyface run. They've lost all of their edge. It's them coming out and looking really smug into the camera and making the same Bootios jokes every week. And that's not what got them over. So I thought this was better than that. Next up was the Usos versus Anderson and Gallows. Another Dove cries, because this is the 74th time we've seen this match already, and Anderson got pinned for, I think, the 73rd time. The crowd was really good. The crowd was into it. After the match, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles got involved. Reigns took out the club. And then AJ Styles beat the hell out of Roman Reigns with a chair. The crowd loved it. He hit the Styles Clash on the chair. Crowd really liked that too. For better or for worse, I have to say I've enjoyed Roman Reigns much more over the past, since WrestleMania, than for the year prior. The fans at least care about this program, Vince.
Yeah, no, bro. Listen, I'm a Roman Reigns fan, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I don't care what anybody thinks. I like Roman Reigns. I've put this angle over, since it started. I just don't like the fact, bro. I'm a believer in going into the pay-per-view. There should be heat, and I know their psychology was, okay, we'll give the Usos the victory, then we'll give with Anderson and Gallows heat, so everybody will get something. No, I would have went straight away heat, but I understand why they did it, bro. I was a little concerned. Did you see AJ had a problem getting Reigns up for the Styles Clash? And I was like, holy crap, bro. I mean, I saw injury like all over that. He could not get him up for that, bro. And I was worried for a second there. But, I like the flavor of, AJ, shades of gray, Reigns, shades of gray. I'm cool with this.
Yeah, again, I thought this was, once again, I thought this was the best stuff on the show. I thought, what Vince said, the shades of gray stuff with AJ and Roman, it's the most realistic feud that they've done in a while, because you don't have the clean-cut good guy and the clean-cut bad guy. And yeah, so I thought this was really good. I mean, I don't think Anderson and Gallows should be losing this much already, but I mean, that's a broken record. And it's clear who Vince likes, between Anderson and Gallows, because it's always Anderson taking the pin. But yeah, I thought the angle's hot. I just wish they would come up with different ways, as opposed to having the same guys wrestling each other over and over and over again.
Luke Gallows wearing those 1996 Diesel pants, the high water edition. Also, I noticed. Well, by the way, AJ Styles does his ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. I'm sure he'll be fine. But something I noticed. Who are the top three guys? Would you say the top three active guys right now? Reigns, AJ, Dean Ambrose, right? So all basically, technically, baby faces. We do get those shades of gray out of Reigns and Styles. John Cena's coming back. He's going to be a baby face. When Bray Wyatt comes back, he was a baby face right before he left. There's no way Seth Rollins is going to be a heel the day he comes back. Vince, do you think this puts them in a bad predicament, a good situation? How do you look at this?
Well, why do you say that? Why do you say he's not going to be a heel when he comes back?
Oh God, Seth Rollins is going to get a crazy babyface reaction.
But you're talking about Vince McMahon, bro. Vince doesn't care. Vince is going to book him as a heel. There's no doubt about that. He's not going to.
I mean, he very well could, but I mean,
I think he's going to come back just the way he left because I know Vince.
Raj, what do you think?
I think. I think he would come back as babyface just because he's going to get a huge reaction, but they could turn him pretty quick after that. And we got Randy Orton too, who's also a babyface. So yeah, I mean they definitely got to make some heels and protect him. I mean they could have done that with Rusev, and they still can, but they're really short on the heel side.
Speaking of Rusev, Alberto Del Rio faced Kalisto. They just had to have Alberto Del Rio, 8 months ago? Had to have him. Now he's not in a program. He did beat Kalisto because Rusev beat the living crap out of Sin Cara.
When's the last time a champion won on Raw?
Oh God, I need to. I want to get.
It's been weeks.
I want to look at it and see the combined record of champions of late. That'd be. I'll check that out and I'll report it on Wednesday's show. I don't know why Del Rio wasn't disqualified when he held Kalisto in the ropes because the refs counted. He started to go 1, 2, and then broke it 7 different times. He should have been DQ'd there. Rusev looked really good here. The accolade that he put on Kalisto after the match looked vicious. He bent him really good accolade. Rusev's got to win this, doesn't he, Raj?
Well, I don't know what they got planned for either guy. My gut is not much, so I could see them having Kalisto going over now and keeping the feud alive till the next pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, they'll do 4 matches.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
With the way Rusev destroyed him here, I would guess that Kalisto is getting the win at the pay-per-view. I wouldn't do it that way, but that's just how they do things.
Vince, any prediction for Extreme Rules? Who you think's going over? Kalisto, Rusev, the hottest, biggest fight of the summer.
I'm more interested about something that you just said there. Sean, isn't that interesting what you just said? And I would love to know what the results of this is. Raw is the showcase show for the WWE. Of course, no doubt about it. It is the show. It's been the show for decades and decades and decades. Bro, wouldn't it be interesting to see what the won and lost record is of the champions over the last year on Raw? Yeah. Can you imagine, bro, if on your showcase show over the course of a year, your champions are losing more matches than they're winning on your cornerstone show? That right there would tell you everything you need to know about the fundamentals of the booking.
I think if you took Roman Reigns out of it, it's guaranteed they're underwater, the champions.
That is unbelievable when you look at it that way. I mean, they're supposed to be the champions because they win all the time.
Right.
I mean, that's such a basic flaw in booking. If they fixed that alone, where would they be?
I agree. Before we get into the main event segment, I want to get some more predictions. Roman Reigns, AJ Styles on Sunday. Raj, who do you have winning, and do you see any major angle swerves, switches, anything like that?
No, and again, you had AJ Styles laying Roman Reigns out, so just with that kind of tells you that Reigns is going over, and even if he didn't, you'd know that's the way they're going. So yeah, I don't know if that. My guess is it's not the end of the feud. They don't have anyone really built for Roman yet, so I think it'll continue. But I gotta think that Roman's going over.
Vince, your prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point they got to roll with Reigns. I mean, they've done so much. I mean, I can't see them, not continuing to go with it.
I agree. Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. If I'm the WWE, I give Ambrose another win here. Vince, what do you think?
I agree with that. Asylum. I agree with, especially he made the match. It's his match. If he doesn't go over, he's really dead. So I would have to think it's another win for Ambrose.
Raj.
Yeah, I agree. Same here. It doesn't. I don't think it makes sense to have Ambrose lose.
Any chance of the Vaudevillains defeating the New Day for the tag titles, Vince?
Man, bro, I tell you what. When they said on the show tonight that New Day's been champion since August, Bro, what's that, like 9 months?
Yeah, and they had a brief. I mean, primetime players held it for a couple of months, but nobody really remembers that. By all, they shouldn't, and they probably shouldn't have had the titles taken off of them then. They could have been champions for almost a year now.
Well, bro, it would make sense to me, obviously, and I don't know why, but New Day is one of the more over acts that they have. New Day doesn't need the belts. I think if they put the belts on the Vaudevillians as solid heels, I think that would help the Vaudevillians. So if it were me, I would switch the belts here.
I'd keep it on the New Day. I just don't think the Vaudevillains are the right act for a title run and for a title program this summer. The fans just don't care about them, so I don't think you should put belts on people that the fans just don't care about. So I would just keep it on the New Day and have them move on to something else.
Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler announced in a no DQ match on the pre-show. I got to go Dolph Ziggler here, or not Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin here, Raj.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think. Well, Ziggler didn't make sense last time they had him beat him, but yeah, I definitely think you got to go with Corbin.
Yeah, I do too, but man, bro, can somebody explain to me, like, why didn't they have him crush somebody on this show? You know what I'm saying? I mean, with Golden Truth and with the two guys from Puerto Rico, how could you not, have Corbin on there? That's what I mean about the inconsistency, man.
That's how they made him in NXT. The whole gimmick was that people counted during his match to see how long they would last.
Yeah. So
I don't see why they couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And I think also you've had the Vaudevillains getting the better of the New Day each time, and like they beat Kofi on SmackDown. They beat him last week, so I think it's telling that New Day is going to get the win this time.
We had our main event segment. It was in North Carolina, so it kind of makes sense they had Charlotte and Ric Flair in the main event. I like that Ric Flair embarrasses Charlotte. I think that's pretty funny stuff. From what I was told, crowd was filing out at this point because nothing major is going to happen. The rule was, or the stipulation was added that if Ric Flair comes out at all during their match, during Charlotte's match with Natalya at Extreme Rules, Charlotte will lose the women's championship. Main event women's segment. I mean, they're doing this because I feel like, well, they did it because of where they were, but if that Raw third hour didn't dip so much, do you think that this would be headlining the show, Raj?
You mean headlining the pay-per-view or
headlining Raw?
They've done it before. They're at a point now where it's not like anything else is going to do much better. So, if it were up to me, it's a go-home show. You should build your hottest, your biggest match at the closing of the show. It doesn't make sense to me to do anything otherwise. But that's they've been doing this for a while now.
And Vince, what did you think of this? And who do you think's going to win at Extreme Rules?
The first thing you're taught, bro, is you never play to the house. They played to the house because they were in, wherever they were. Were they North Carolina, South Carolina, whatever, bro?
Yes.
Just call it Carolina. I mean, really, are either of those states big enough to be their own state? It's Carolina, bro. So they played to the crowd. And that's the first thing you learn. There's a nationwide audience at home. You never played to the house. They played to the house. I mean, basically, this is more important than your heavyweight title. I mean, it was freaking ridiculous. They played to the house. And I'm still trying to figure out what Stephanie McMahon slapped Ric Flair over. Why did she? I still don't understand why she slapped him.
And why is it okay to have woman-on-man violence on the show but not man-on-woman violence on a scripted program? How is that okay?
Yeah.
When Stephanie's preaching equality.
It's different. It's different.
I know it is, but...
I mean, but yeah, I mean, again, it's Stephanie getting herself over. But, I thought Flair was great in that segment. He was cracking me up. But yeah, this, the main event.
Surprised he didn't blade.
The stuff with it should have been the stuff with Reigns and AJ. Should have been what closed the show.
Indeed, guys. Wanted to tell you. I mean, I mentioned that we're going to have tons of interviews up on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube. We have one coming up, I think tomorrow, with Jeannie Clark, the ex-wife of Stone Cold Steve Austin, about her new book, Through the Shattered Glass. You can check that out on Amazon now. Excellent read, talks about a lot of backstage stories. You find out about her time in World Class and WCW, her time being married to Stone Cold Steve Austin, also her battles with addiction. Go check that out. Through the Shattered Glass, and Raj's interview with her will be up this week.
And part 1 was up last week. Part 2 is going up this week.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff in that too. Really enjoyed that interview. Learned a lot of stuff about her that I didn't know, like that she got started much earlier than I originally knew.
Yeah.
Vince, how would you rate this show out of 10?
Goose egg, 0.
Yeah, Vince, there was a Wrestling Inc. sign. Did you guys catch that Wrestling Inc. sign that was on the show? You didn't catch it.
Where was that, Raj?
It was on twice. There was during the Cesaro match. It was a guy behind Michael Cole had a big Wrestling Inc. sign.
I'll give it a 1 then for the Wrestling Inc.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, also, go to ProWrestlingTees.com. All of us have T-shirts up there. Go check out the Wrestling Inc. shirt that Raj is wearing. Raj, show that thing off.
There it is. There it is. You got to get it.
We have a white one as well. Please check that out. Vince, tell the folks about the brand.
I got a real interesting interview tomorrow on Podcast One. I think everybody will enjoy. I'll be honest with you. Do you guys know who Adrienne Curry is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she was on the Surreal Life with China.
She was on the Surreal Life with China. She was the very first America's Next Top Model. She married Christopher Knight, who was Peter Brady, and she had the show My Fair Brady. But she you know, in the house, her and China became really good friends, and that friendship went on beyond, you know, the show. And it was really interesting to get insights into Joni's life when we weren't necessarily following her life. You know what I'm saying, Sean? She wasn't in wrestling anymore. She was out of wrestling. She was trying to make a go of it in Hollywood, doing reality TV. Adrienne was good friends with her, so it really gives you a good insight into that point of Joni Lauer, China's life, which I thought was very, very interesting. That'll be on Podcast One tomorrow. We have a show on Podcast One every day of the week. You can get the schedule by going to russosbrand.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at the Vince Russo.
I watched the hell out of the Surreal Life. I love that show.
Yeah.
Guys, this is our 100th Wrestling Inc. podcast. Can you believe it?
Hey, congratulations, guys. Good for you. Congratulations.
100 episodes. Guys, we want to thank you so much for supporting us. Vince, we're going to boot you off while we talk some UFC 198.
All right, gentlemen. Have a good rest of the show. Thanks for having me on.
All right, take care, Vince.
All right, man. Bye.
Thank you. Guys, we will also answer some questions here in a little bit, but UFC 198, major show, Raj. New UFC Heavyweight Champion. We talked about it last week. Man, Fabricio Verdum looked different physically, and John Jones even tweeted it. He said, USADA's making some of these guys look way different.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. We had some little tragedy in the family that we had to travel for last week, so I got a lot of stuff to catch up on. So I hope to watch that this week. But yeah, that's this UFC heavyweight title, man. It's a hot potato.
Yes, Stipe Miocic joins The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, and EC3 as people who brought championships to Cleveland before LeBron James. So it just keeps going. Poor LeBron. Stipe Miocic caught Fabricio Verdum. Like, I don't know if Verdum thought that he caught Stipe with a punch or what happened, but it's almost exactly how Stipe Miocic caught Philip DeFries and knocked him out. Stipe is an incredible counterpuncher, and he put Verdum to sleep.
I just think with this title change, and no disrespect to Stipe, because I think he's a great fighter, it just makes the heavyweight division as uninteresting as it's been since before Couture came back, in my opinion. Going back to like the Tim Sylvia days.
But yeah, you mentioned how it's been a hot potato. Nobody has defended the title more than twice ever. Brock Lesnar still holds a record in the UFC for that.
Yeah, Lesnar and a couple other guys.
A few other guys. That's pretty impressive considering that Lesnar won the title in his third or maybe third or fourth MMA fight ever.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. That may never happen again, ever.
Right. No, he was a freak, and that division has not been the same since Lesnar left. And Kane looked like he could have been that dominant champ, and then that loss to Verdum. And who knows how he would do against this Verdum. So we'll just have to wait and see. He needs to train smarter.
Now, I mean, the drug testing was much different back then, but when Brock was champion and Shane Carwin was doing stuff, like he was running things that he would just touch people and they would lose consciousness. You saw all these guys trying their hardest to get up to 265. I mean, Frank Mir was topping out at that. Now that's not the case. You see smaller guys. I wouldn't call Stipe Miocic small by any means, but a much leaner Alistair Overeem doing well. By all accounts, he might get the next shot against Miocic, and that's a very winnable fight for Overeem, Raj.
And it's not necessarily that he's doing well. He's put together a couple of wins in a row. It's just no one else is doing that fantastic. So you just kind of got to go with who's there. I mean, Andrei Arlovsky almost got a title shot. He arguably was about to. So it's just you don't have that one dominant killer right now in that division. But Overeem and Stipe. If Stipe catches Overeem like he did with Verdum, I think he'll have a title defense under his belt.
I agree. Also, Jacare Souza absolutely Sharkeesha'd Vitor Belfort. Wasn't even close.
What does Sharkeesha mean?
You should Google it. It's hard for me to explain.
I'll have to look that one up.
He Sharkeesha'd.
I'm 40 now. I don't know all these terms that you kids are using these days. So
I'm big on the Twitter. So
I'm trying to stay I'm trying to stay hip. But
well, if you see what Sharkeesha is, and then you see what Jacare did to Vitor, you would just go, oh, that's what you do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if Vitor landed a single offensive maneuver. I'm not sure. I don't think he did. Jacare caught him with an ankle pick. Now, that's not easy to do at the low levels of MMA, but to do that to a former UFC champion, that's pretty nuts. An ankle pick and then just elbowed him into submission. Raj, do you think that Jacare will get the title shot over Romero, who technically beat him, although in controversial fashion? Romero has been suspended, but he didn't do anything wrong, which is the thing. He got popped for a USADA violation, but proved that it was a tainted supplement that he unknowingly ingested.
Was that decision overturned?
No, it wasn't.
Was that a no contest? So it still stands as a win. I'd give it to Jacare because Jacare got the win over a big name, in dominant fashion. So I'd go with him. And then you keep Romero waiting in the wings. So he was still suspended for like 6 months, though, right? Or was it lifted completely?
Jacare was still suspended for 6 months, which is
not
better
Jacare,
than
Romero.
Romero. Yeah.
So
and it's 1 month of it is 1.5 months, but let's see, Weidman and Rockhold fight in what, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's coming up.
So Jacare,
you could go with either.
Yeah, that, and they need some fights like that in the fall. They need a middleweight title fight with the 3 or 4 they're loading up July with. Also, we have seen the end of Vitor Belfort at the elite level in MMA. He is cooked after TRT has been banned. Chris Cyborg killed a woman. They could have said, Leslie Smith, we're going to let you go in there with a tank. And I think that Cyborg probably still would have been a minus 1,000 favorite, Raj.
Yeah. I mean, this was a squash match. So, and like I said, I haven't seen it. I've heard about it, and I mean, I just don't get why you'd even put Cyborg on the show if you don't have plans for her. If she's not going to drop to 135, then all you do is you're building up a fighter that's not going to be fighting in your company. So
yeah,
that fight didn't make much sense to me.
A lot of hot takes after this match, as there always is after Cyborg fights. She didn't call out Ronda Rousey, but did today call out Miesha Tate. She hasn't called out Ronda Rousey since being in the UFC, but then she called out the current UFC 135-pound champion. Now, when Rousey held the title, she called her out a lot. When Holly Holm held that title, she called Holly Holm out a lot. But she has no interest in making the weight. If you all want to check it out, I wrote a timeline on her struggles to make weight last year. Do you think that's like a calculated thing psychologically where she just wants to be like, hey, I can beat whoever the UFC's best is, but I'm not going to their weight? She made 139 pounds on Friday.
If that's all it is, then she's an idiot because she is losing so much money per pound with those 4 or 5 pounds. If she got down to 139, can't get to 135, you're talking, hundreds of thousands of dollars per pound, maybe more. So if that's all it is, then she's not very bright.
And some people say that I kind of side with the other fighters on this. Well, it's because, I literally covered the entire situation. I remember when she announced in February of 2014 that she was going to drop to 135 pounds. And Invicta tried to ease her into it. They gave her, I think, 2 or 3 opportunities to make 140 first, and she backed out of all of them. Not only that, she actively gained weight from February 2014 until earlier this year when she said, I'm not doing it anymore. She has had some not so good people managing her, apparently. Like, she sounded thrilled when Ronda Rousey lost to Holly Holm. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you fool, you just lost millions of dollars. That was the big fight, Raj.
Yeah, that was a dream. That was a dream match. I mean, that was going to do insane. It still will if they ever did it,
Yeah.
which I doubt that it'll happen. But yeah, she just doesn't get business, and it's costing her in the pocketbook.
Yeah, she looked great Saturday night, dominated Leslie Smith. And you always have Ronda Rousey would get crushed by her because she lost to Holly Holm. Holly Holm and Cyborg, 2 way different fighters. Holly Holm likes to fight at range. She likes to keep people at the end of her punches. She stays out of the clinch very well. Chris Cyborg doesn't stay out of the clinch very well, and on instinct, that's where Ronda Rousey wants to be. So that would be a very interesting fight. I would love to see that. There are 3 really big money fights for Cyborg at 135, Raj. Tate, Holm, and Rousey would all be interesting fights because Tate won't die. She just doesn't die.
Well, all those plans could go up in the air real quick over the next month and a half. So I don't get why they booked Tate with
Nunes
and then Holly Holm with I can't pronounce the lady's name. But yeah, it's a big gamble because you got these top stars just that you can mix and match and make a ton of money, and you throw those other 2 ladies into it, and it's not the same.
Indeed. Shogun Rua was the beneficiary of some home cooking in Brazil. I thought Corey Anderson won that fight. Brian Barberina, who beat Sage Northcutt in a big upset, had an even bigger upset against Warley Alves, who was undefeated going into this. He was 10-0, had won, I think, 4 fights in the UFC. If I am anybody in the, if I'm somebody's agent, I'm trying to keep him away from Brian Barberina right now. Damian Maia dominated Matt Brown and submitted him. But the real story of this, Matt Brown was so hated by the Brazilian fans. I think a couple people got ejected for trying to hit him. Somebody tried to jump him outside the hotel yesterday, and his teammate absolutely wrecked him. Did you see that video, Raj?
I did see that. I mean, Matt Brown's been taking tips from Chael Sonnen, I guess. But
yeah.
Hey, at least people cared, and they love seeing him get beat.
They did. A couple of the other big fights. John Lineker beat Rob Font. He's looking really good at 135, Lineker. Little Nogueira defeated Patrick Cummins. The scouting report in Patrick Cummins is punch him in the face and you're going to win the fight. That's pretty much it. We have some questions, Raj.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions.
Yeah, big 100th episode. Everybody's watching. Let's see here. With all the filler that they put on Raw, I've started to watch only the pay-per-views. I believe you can just watch the pay-per-views and not really miss anything. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, what have you been watching that you wouldn't get from Payback? The 4-way was set up at that show. Reigns and AJ, the rematch was set on that show. So yeah, I mean, you really could get away without watching it.
Yeah, you could. I tell my friends who are casual fans, not really even casual fans, they ask me if they should get into it. And I have several that bought the network, and I'm like, just watch This Week in WWE. It's a 30-minute show. That's all the weekly you really need to watch. Yeah. Somebody says, do you think Camp WWE sucks? I had high hopes thinking it was going to be similar to South Park, but no. Your thoughts? It's not my thing.
Yeah, I watched like half of the first one. I didn't get into it. I could see how some people might find it amusing, but I didn't find it that funny. And I used to be a big South Park fan, a big Simpsons fan back in the day, and Family Guy. But yeah, that sure didn't do anything for me.
Tweener wants to talk about his Wrestling Inc. sign on Raw. We did. Wrestling Inc. making up.
That's right at the bottom. I guess it said Tweener sucks. Someone from the comment section that had that sign. So big ups to him. But yeah, Tweener, you got on TV.
Somebody asked, do you like the fruit roll or the roll-up era? I would prefer a fruit roll-up era.
Yeah. If I were building a promotion, one of the first things would be no distraction finishes and no roll-ups. Use very sparingly because they just use that to death.
Somebody says, since Sean won't wear the beanie, if I buy DDP Yoga, will he wear a propeller hat? If you get me the propeller hat, I might wear it on the Wednesday show.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. I got one on Twitter. Did Leslie Smith stand a chance against Cyborg? No. They could have sent her in there with a Reebok-sponsored rocket launcher. And she would not have stood a chance against Chris Cyborg. Get out of here. Not a chance. Any updates on Enzo's return? So far, he's still listed for the 20th onward. Do you think the Dudleys and or Cass will get involved in the tag team match in some way on Sunday? I don't think they'll get involved. And it's been very quiet about Enzo, Raj.
Yeah, and it sounded like that the concussion was pretty serious. I think they just haven't updated the advertising from the 20th on, but I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. I think if he was, they wouldn't be giving Big Cass this big singles push right now. I think they'd just be laying low on him.
Yeah, I'd originally heard he's supposed to get some testing soon, but I mean, I'm sure they've been testing him several times. Let's see. Can you do an interview with Paige's mom? That would be amazing. Yeah, I'll look into it. Sure. We have one with Deonna Purrazzo coming up this week. It was very good. She's been everywhere. Ring of Honor, TNA, NXT. She talked about her NXT tryout. So keep your eye on that, guys. Let's see. Why would four guys trying to rip it into each other's heads stop and rest as soon as music hits, like the brawl when Shane's music hit? I mean, I guess because it's the boss.
It's like the teacher coming in. I mean, yeah. But yeah, if it was really that heated, they shouldn't be. But yeah. I mean, if they're treated like school kids when Shane and Stephanie are around.
Oh, let's be real. If me and Rob McCarron were getting crazy on the Wednesday show, Wednesday nights at 10, by the way, and a little thing popped up that said Raj Giri has joined the call, it would change. The tone would change pretty quick. So I kind of understand that.
Right, but if your gimmick was a badass that didn't give That's true. Like a Howard Stern,
that is my gimmick, Raj.
All right. Well,
somebody's asking, WWE expects fans to know the history of Styles, Anderson, and Gallows. By that logic, shouldn't fans be asking why does Styles trust these two after they took part in turning on him not that long ago in New Japan? I agree completely.
Yeah, they want you to have selective memory with their past. I feel like they should have done a better job explaining how they know each other. Some video packages, just saying they're buddies and they go back a long way. And that's really all you need to do. You don't have to be going by New Japan, story. Yeah,
you can put together a little video package. I'm sure. I mean, these guys worked indies as the Bullet Club. I'm sure you can get a hold of some footage from some, little show that shows that these guys did some stuff before. Explain it. People don't know. I know that a lot of fans are like, oh, of course. Yeah. No, they don't know. They have no idea. My fiance is here while I covered those New Japan shows, and she's like, who are these guys? I mean, yeah, you got to explain it. Do you see this new gimmick for Primo and Epico leading to a proper tag titles push, or are they just repackaged jobbers? I don't know if proper tag title push is the term I would use.
Remember, Los Matadores had a championship match at WrestleMania, so I'm sure they will get title shots. But are they going to be a top tag team? Unless they do something like the New Day did, where they completely reinvented themselves and took themselves out of that gimmick, I don't see it happening.
I like the WLC match. That's the best thing that Matadors were ever in.
Man, they're good wrestlers. They could go. They just, they're just missing in the charisma area.
By the way, now that Hornswoggle and Torito are released, if somebody doesn't book WLC2 on the indie circuit, I don't know what we're doing here. Somebody's got to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
How hard would it have been to have Becky take Emma out in a backstage segment, even a pre-tape segment? It would have been very hard. She ruptured a disc in her back.
Yeah. It's not a small injury.
Will we ever see Brock versus The Rock, Raj?
I don't think so. The Rock, there's just way too much riding on him and his movie career. The shitstorm it caused last time, when he was injured in that match with John Cena, with Hercules having to get pushed and him not being able to do publicity for Pain and Gain. I just don't see any movie company wanting him to do that again. And by the time, if he does cool off and the movie companies aren't as aggressive with him, it'll have been years down the road. So who knows where they would be.
I have a couple questions to add to that. Is Eric Rowan The Rock's last match?
Yeah, I guess technically, yeah.
I mean, will it be his last match?
Probably. Unless they do something quick like that again. I mean, they could always do something where he's in a tag match and has really limited time in the ring. So
I always loved the idea. I've been pushing it for a long time, the idea of doing an unadvertised quick match, because it's not like people can really bitch about that. Like, oh no, we got a 5-second Rock match that we didn't even know was coming. Also, are you going to watch Central Intelligence when it comes out?
I will. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one.
Me too.
Kevin Hart's hit or miss, but when he's hit, he's hilarious.
Yep, I agree. Do you guys agree that Joe Rogan being or not being at UFC 198 made it less exciting? I do, because Brian Stan he's okay for FS1, but Joe Rogan brings a different level of excitement. I know that you didn't get to see the show, Raj, but what do you think of Joe Rogan not being there? It's because of it was his daughter's birthday. That's why.
Yeah, anytime I feel like when you didn't have Joe Rogan and Mike Goldberg, that's just the pay-per-view team, and it just makes it feel more special when it's those two. And when you don't have them, it's just something missing from the experience. So, I did see one fight of the prelims. I think it was Brian Stan and Mike Goldberg on that.
Yes,
and I like Brian Stan. I think he's really smart. He's impossible to dislike. But yeah, Joe Rogan's just, he's like how it was with JR and Jerry Lawler when they did a pay-per-view. It was just different, as opposed to any other team.
I agree, and I don't know.
Jesse.
I don't know if you saw UFC 197, but I think Daniel Cormier may have jumped the line. When his career's over, he could replace Joe Rogan. He was unbelievable. And I don't even find him that likable when he's on UFC Tonight. He was incredible at UFC 197.
Yeah.
Somebody says, does The Miz, I assume they say The Miz, have heel heat or X-Pac heat? I think he's got heel heat.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited for Cena's return?
I am.
I am too.
I think Raw's been pretty bland lately, and it adds something. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of big names coming back soon.
And who does he feud with? That's another interesting thing. Do they go back to Del Rio? They've got unfinished business, but Del Rio's been moved down the ladder so bad that it'll be interesting to see who they go with.
Yeah, we always when a Rollins or a Cena goes down, we're like, who's going to step up? Who are they going to push big time? And nothing usually happens. AJ Styles has been the beneficiary over the last several months, and he's delivered. So,
yeah, AJ's been great.
Yeah. Let's see. After the crowd reaction tonight in a casual city, surely Rollins comes back as a face, right?
I would think so, but he could turn that around quick. I just can't see Rollins cutting effective babyface promos. And he could completely prove me wrong, but he's such a great, swarmy heel that I just can't picture it. But we'll have to see. But he'll get a gigantic pop when he comes back.
Somebody asked, what is next for Stipe Miocic after 198? He'll be facing Overeem. That's pretty much it. Unless Overeem gets hurt, then yeah.
And one more thing with Rollins, you can bring him back and throw him right into a program with Reigns, because Reigns is going to get booed anyway. You get Rollins being cheered. You still have Rollins being kind of the heel, and you still have that dynamic, and it would work.
Yeah, people will care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the new era of WWE? Is it the same old crappy or reality era as before?
It's the same exact thing, just with not as big as stars because they're all on the shelf.
Yep.
So, yeah. I mean, there's not one thing on the show that, other than it's younger talent, that's really different.
I agree. What are your thoughts on Shane and Stephanie running Raw for its third week? I like that they're kind of one-upping each other. Other than that, it's just one of them looking dumb because they made a bad decision and the other one looking really smart.
If they had a real long-term storyline plan where they're headed in a certain direction, I'd say let it play out, but they just never do. You just never see a real effective long-term storyline play out anymore. So I just don't see it happening, and it's just doing nothing for me. I preferred it when it was just Shane.
Indeed. Let's see. We've got three more. Does John Cena really need an announcement of his return? Yeah. Have you seen the ratings?
Yeah. I'm a little surprised they're doing it on Memorial Day, just because that's one of the lower ended, the holiday Raws are always lower rated. So, I would have saved it for the week after, unless they just feel like, I don't know. I would have done it this Monday unless he's busy, since it's the night after a pay-per-view. But I definitely advertise it for sure.
Who are your picks for UFC 199? We have Rockhold versus Weidman. Raj, I'm going with Rockhold again.
I'm going to go with Rockhold too. He's looked like a beast. He's just been on a tear.
Also, he's unbelievable in EA UFC 2.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Cruz versus Faber. Cruz.
I don't know. He's had these long layoffs, but yeah, I mean, Cruz looked great in his last fight. You got to go with Cruz, but I would not be shocked to see Faber pull off an upset decision.
Faber is still great. He's still great. Holloway versus Ricardo Lamas. I think Holloway's going to keep the hot streak going.
Yeah, same here.
Hector Lombard, Dan Henderson. I got to say Lombard.
Yeah, same.
And BJ Penn, Cole Miller. I think Cole Miller's probably going to beat him.
Yeah, that's sad to see. I'm a big BJ Penn fan, but yeah, I agree.
And the final question. We went a little long for you guys tonight because it's episode 100, but our last question. At different points, WWE have said that ratings don't matter, titles don't matter, kayfabe doesn't matter, and wins and losses don't matter. So I ask, what does matter?
Roman Reigns.
Well, I can't top that. Guys, thank you all so much for joining us. 100 episodes. I've been here for 99 of them. Thank you all so much. Join us Wednesday night at 10. We're going to talk all the midweek stuff. Preview Extreme Rules a little bit more. Lots of cool stuff on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube. Go to prowrestlingtees.com/Wrestling Inc. Get your Wrestling Inc. merchandise. And, of course, visit trendybutler.com and ddpyoga.com/Wrestling Inc. Raj, you have anything to leave the people with before we go?
No. Just check back on Sunday. Check back on Wednesday for the Wednesday podcast and Sunday for the post payback podcast. So yeah,
post Extreme Rules.
I mean, Extreme Rules. Yeah.
Indeed, guys. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Hope we have 1 million more episodes. But until Wednesday, we are out.